What's up, guys? This is the Prime Design Podcast. My name is Mitra Kuzmahina,
And my name is Ryan Srinivasan.
and we are Cerberus Trillion, an independent video game studio, co-founders, co-developers, co-producers, and this podcast is what is this meant for again? Please tell me, my friend. I'm forgetting.
We're trying to communicate good video game design to the community in an effort
There it
to
is.
improve everybody's video games, including our own. You know,
And you might ask, how are we doing that? Well, we didn't come up with any of this. We're getting all this information from my boy, Richard Thoreau, the GOAT, who has a online game design blog called Critical Gaming. And he's moved on to a different site, but he's allowing myself and Ryan to use the info in his blog and disseminate it to the masses, basically.
yeah. So this episode is going to contain information from Mechanics and Abstractions 1 from the blog.
If you want to follow along.
Exactly.
And let's get into it. So, video games. The reason you're here is because you probably play them or make them. And the video games are different from movies because they're an interactive medium. So, what we do and how the game responds to what we do is extremely crucial. That's like what makes a game a game. So, before we can talk about any complex mechanics or concepts, I think we need to introduce what a mechanic is first. So a mechanic is something that's very simple. It's really anything that the player can do. And anything that results from that mechanic is the mechanic's properties. So for example, in Super Mario Bros., when Mario jumps, that jump is a mechanic. That's one of the primary mechanics. But the squashing of Goombas is the result. It's the effect, the property of the mechanic. There's a very powerful game design principle called form fits function that Nintendo used and still uses in many of its great games. And that's basically whatever mechanic, let me rephrase this, whatever you see in the game environment, it's like you use your intuition to understand what it will do, and then it does that thing. So like if I have a golf club and there's a golf ball and a tee, I will expect to hit the ball with the golf club. Similar to Mario, if you see a little dude there, you expect that he will jump. Form fits function. Keeping things that simple and the mechanics that concrete really creates a very clean and enjoyable experience.
Yeah, so the other side to that is an abstract mechanic. So it's the opposite of a well-defined mechanic or something that's intuitive. It's something that doesn't usually exist in reality. Something like a multiplier or any sort of points-based idea, something that you wouldn't run into in normal life. So when you see these things in games, it tends to resemble, sort of like arcade games. Something that's generally a little less based around real life. So an example of this is if a college student were to go to classes and have success in those classes and then have a multiplier that would allow them to get through college faster and eventually graduate. That's a really unnatural thing for us because that doesn't exist in our society.
Yes, so the more abstract a mechanic and its properties are, the less concrete it becomes, and vice versa. Not a lot of games have purely concrete mechanics. Oftentimes, abstract mechanics are thrown over the game systems to make them more engaging. For example, Call of Duty. So in Call of Duty, the main mechanic is I have a gun, I shoot you. We repeat that millions of times. But as soon as you add kill streaks, then the game becomes less of who can create or do the best kill, like aesthetically, and it's more of just like what is the most practical, like fastest way I can string kills together and get the Moab. And so you're not really focused on the beauty and the art of killing people. It's like I need to get kills in a row, and you lose the essence of the game.
Man, that sounds sadistic. Okay, yeah,
Well,
that's the thing you have to be aware of when you build these mechanics. So, without limits, these abstract mechanics, everything will boil down into what's the most efficient way you can do something. But if you have a limit to how point oriented you can be, or score oriented, or whatever, people will add in creativity and have fun instead of trying to get it as best as they possibly can.
yeah. So that is lesson 1, Mechanics and Abstractions 1. Next week we'll move on to Mechanics and Abstractions 2. But we'll now move on to talking about a game that we think has a really cool mechanic or design element and how that impacted our play experience. So I think you mentioned GTA, Brian, so tell us more about
that. When I read through this section, the portion with Mario where you see someone and you see the variations in terrain that you have to jump over, like intuitively you'd think you'd be able to jump, but then if you add on to that landing on the Goombas as a form of another the part of the mechanic, that kind of brought to mind like Grand Theft Auto games, because those worlds are so
it's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, no, I mean it is a bit of a stretch, but I think it fits because you have the base sort of thing where you're running around with a gun or you're driving a car or something, but then you can add so much into that. So you have a car, maybe you want to go jump off a ramp or something with the car, you want to do races and stuff with the cars. You have a gun, maybe you want to like I don't know, go kill people or do various things with that. But then also you're running around this open world and you run into something like the gun store or something, and you think, oh, I should be able to walk into the gun store, and there you go, you can walk into the gun store. They've added that into the game. Something like the movie theaters have that, strip clubs obviously those are in there as well. So things that kind of build the world out and break down the barriers that are traditionally in open world games like that, where like environments inside buildings are generally non-existent. Just adding those in for that little extra touch of realism adds so much more to the game.
Makes GTA.
Yeah. It's a world.
Dope. Yeah, I have nothing more to say about that. I completely agree. I think that the vastness of GTA as well, like you can go from one side to the map to the other, and there's so much information.
Yeah.
And so much to do, and it's not like you're creating stuff out of thin air. Okay, well, you kind of can with the cheat codes, which is an abstraction, but the normal stuff, like driving a car and guns and strip clubs, it just works.
Yeah. Plus then there's the whole ocean section. There's all the differences in terrain, different, like the huge variety of vehicles that you can pilot, all that stuff. So the base mechanics of like operating a vehicle are just so broadly used with pretty much every vehicle that you can see.
So speaking of GTA, excuse me, in the AAA space, there was some game news I saw a few days ago that Kotaku, it was an article that Kotaku published. It was an article on early access and the cost of playing games early. And basically, this article details a new paradigm now where companies are giving early access games for more money. So like if you had to pay $60 for, let's just say, GTA, and then you get to play it 2 days early, now you're paying like 70.
Yeah,
You're paying 100.
it's a pre-order bonus type of thing. Or like
Pretty
if you buy
much.
a special edition version, you generally get this type of thing.
Now, to me, that's ludicrous as to why you buy it, except if it's a multiplayer game like COD or Fortnite or any other skill-based multiplayer. Anything else, I really don't understand. Like, they're just making bank, and I don't get it. Like, what exclusivity do you get anymore? It's not an alpha where you play a game that's never going to be played by anyone else. It's just the same game one day before.
Yeah. So yeah, for a single player game, this makes absolutely no sense to me. Um, I mean, I understand you might get additional benefits from like pre-ordering it or whatever, but being able to play the game too, like, or a couple days early, that doesn't really.
Is that worth $40?
No, I don't know. I hope they're adding extra stuff in because that's not a very big perk in my opinion. Except like you said with multiplayer games, I think that has a genuine advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this isn't like it's not a beta thing. It's the actual full game, and you just get it a few days early. And the other side to this is it seems like a lot of AAA games these days, they come out and they have day one patches. So you get the game before everyone else gets it. You might run into bugs before everybody else gets it, and it might be terrible. So do you want to risk it that much? I don't know.
Well,
that's something to keep in mind.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
now that we've let's move a little more indie. There was something that I found this morning. If I can get to the article. So basically, there's a game, and I don't know when it came out. The article was posted yesterday, but on indiegamesplus.com. But I don't know when the game came out, but I assume it's like out at this point. The game is called the Zium Garden. It's basically a virtual museum that's in a game. And it's like one of the first games I've seen. I'm sure there's been plenty, but the first game that I've seen that's exclusively an art-centric game. Like I've seen narrative-heavy games that have a lot of art, but the focus was on the game and not the art. But now I can see like people's artwork is focused on in the game. And there's like some like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like different colored people like wiggling and shit.
It's really interesting. Like it's kind of a new space for an artist to express themselves,
Very
and
much
also,
so.
The potential to distribute that is so, wide, because like literally anyone could go and download this thing and then walk through this virtual gallery and see everything that this artist has created. They don't have to go somewhere and like actively seek it out. It's just right there in front of them. And also it allows someone to exhibit things that might not exist in the real world, which I think is really interesting because it just opens up a whole nother, avenue for different things that someone could create.
And the Zium Garden, that's spelled Zium Garden, is available for free on itch.io. So if you have a PC,
and a Mac.
I'd honestly get this or PC or Mac. Sorry. Yep. I hope it should be for both.
Yeah, no, it's also on Mac, which is
okay. Sick.
Win.
But yeah, get it. It looks really cool. Support this person by getting their game, because it looks really cool, and I like art.
Yeah, and just the whole, kind of virtual reality thing, exhibiting stuff through virtual spaces.
Yeah,
that's absolutely fascinating. I think it's something that we haven't really seen in the past.
So, I agree.
Exciting frontier.
And that's it. That is the podcast. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week, we'll be doing Mechanics and Abstractions 2. We'll have more AAA and indie news for you guys. And, all the social media stuff. Do you want to run through that?
Yeah, so if you want to follow us in our journey to educate the world and create our own video games, you can follow us on nearly every platform there is. Yeah, just look it up. So we are Cerberus, or at Cerberus Trilly 2 on Twitter, at Cerberus Trillion on Instagram, at Certril, that's CERTRIL on Snapchat.
LL. TRIL.
TRILL on Snapchat.
LL. Sorry.
As always, CerberusTrillion.com. That's our website. Yeah, you can check out our material we have up there. The Cerberus Trillion YouTube channel. Just
That doesn't have any content.
We're working on content.
Yet.
Actually, this is content, so
This will be content.
watch
You're
this
right.
space. Yeah, the Cerberus Trillion dev blog is going to be on Medium, and then links to that on our website and all of our various social media stuff. And the Cerberus Trillion Facebook page. We're also setting up Cerberus Trillion Discord, and eventually going to be live streaming us playing games or building games or whatever fun stuff, making food or something like that. I don't know, brushing our teeth.
Dude,
We're not doing
that sounds
that.
interesting as fuck.
But yeah, so stay tuned.